Hey, people on Facebook and YouTube, because I might post this on YouTube later. I wanted to jump on here this morning. It's not Monday morning, I realize, but I wanted to jump on here and because I got a question in the Flying Free Sisterhood forum, private forum. I'm not gonna expose who this was, but she asked a really, really good question that I get a lot. I hear the similar questions like this, and I want to read you my answer. Okay. The question has to do with custody, and this particular person is getting divorced, and she's going into a situation where her husband, or soon-to-be ex-husband, wants 50-50 custody, which is, that's pretty typical, okay? And the only problem is that she's getting out of her marriage relationship because of emotional and spiritual abuse. And usually men who are emotionally and spiritually abusive, they don't just abuse their wives. They abuse anyone in the family unit, okay, including their kids. It might be different. They might use different tactics, but they're still who they are. That's how they present themselves. That's their stance in the world, and so they're going to have an effect on their kids as well. All right, so she was wondering, she doesn't have a lot of money, which a lot of women who are getting divorced don't. The money is oftentimes, especially if you're coming out of a patriarchal environment, the money is controlled by the man. And oftentimes these are homeschooling moms, so they have not been building their careers, they've been building into their children. And now they've got these children who are in middle school, maybe junior high, I guess that is middle school, right? Grade school and middle school, maybe high school. And their kids aren't finished baking yet. They're not ready to launch. And now they're thinking about, okay, if I leave this relationship and get a divorce, my kids are going to spend 50% of their lives with someone who's emotionally abusive. And I'm not going to be there to be the buffer. And this is terrifying. This is really terrifying. All right, so she's wondering, should I fight? I have no money, but my lawyer tells me that based on my evidence, I probably don't have a very good chance of getting more than 50-50, having his custody time reduced. And so I don't have money to really go through an intense court battle on this. How am I supposed to think about this? How am I supposed to reconcile this? So, here were some of her upsides, though. I just want to share she had some really great great ways of thinking about it that would help her to feel a little bit better about the whole situation. One of them is that 50-50 custody would give her more time to work and build a career, all right? Another thing is that dad is being really nice, and this is pretty typical. Dad's being very nice to the kids right now. He wants to present a good face. He wants to show a good face for the mediator, and for potential court in the future. He wants the kids to have good feelings towards him. So he's being amazing dad right now. And the kids are feeling and the kids who've been starving for affection from him are now really excited. So raise your electronic hand if this sounds familiar. Okay. I'm raising mine. All right. So she does have there's some good thoughts that she has about how it could be a plus there are some pluses. All right. They're not great, but they're there. All right. So here's my response to her. I said, first of all, you explain it so well. You are an articulate, intelligent, loving human being, and your children are blessed to have a mom like you. And I want to say this to all of you as well. If you are the kind of person and you are taking all of these efforts to extricate yourself from a relationship like that with all of the people who are against you, and you believe me, it probably feels like the whole world is against you right now. There has to be a lot of inner strength and love in your heart to do this for yourself and for your kids. Because here's the thing, even though they're spending 50% of their time with dad, who will eventually turn on them and become emotionally abusive again, they're spending 50% of their time in a peaceful, abuse-free environment. And that's something, okay? That's something big. And we'll get to that in a minute. Second, mediation is a good place to make your case. But if the mediator doesn't buy it, the courts won't buy it. That's facts. if you can go into mediation, it's a great testing ground. It's a lot cheaper than going to court, and it's a great testing ground to see if your case and the evidence that you have is going to fly. But you can, here's the thing, you can have a lot of evidence against your soon-to-be ex. A lot of like paperwork even from therapists. You can have CPS investigations, and they will still want to give that man 50% custody. That's the legal environment that we live in right now. By the way, I just published a podcast episode this week by Wendy Hernandez, who is an attorney, and she has the YouTube channel Command the Courtroom. She did it's podcast, Flying Free is the name of the podcast, and it's episode 84. So if you want to hear from a professional on all of this, definitely go listen to that interview. So hold on. I got to put my computer glasses on. I cannot read my computer. All right. So anyway, you don't want to spend a ton of money in a big, huge court case if you know that it's going to be a wash anyways. Third, good job on seeing all the pluses of 50-50 custody, because they are there. And trust me, as you rebuild your life and get healthy yourself, you're going to be a better example of what's possible for your kids. I'm telling you, and I'll say this like a broken record, the healthier that you are, the stronger that you are inside of yourself, the more that you have your back, the better you're going to be able to show up as a parent for your kids. Hands down, that is the number one piece of advice that I could give to any of you guys. You go do that, you go work on yourself, and you work on yourself, and you love your kids, build your relationship with your kids, get your focus on that, and you win in the end. That's how you win. You don't win by taking away custody. You don't win by getting your way. You don't win by putting down your ex and kicking him out in the dirt. You don't win by, figuratively beating him up and getting justice for all of the years of hell he's put you through. That's not how you win this game, you guys. You win by flying away. And your kids, they're stuck as little caterpillars with that guy while they're kids. But trust me, if you play this game right, they will all fly away as well. They will go through their own transformation process. Let me keep going here with my my answer. Fourth, the kids will see the difference in time. I promise. Your only work is focusing on your relationship with them and making it amazing. The rest will fall into place. Where moms run into problems is when they try to control all the things and get freaked out. Ask me how I know. This really turns kids off. Kids need to have a strong, mature adult in their lives, and that's going to be you. You guys, I've made this mistake myself. I've made it many, many times. I'm aware of it. I know when I'm sliding down that slope to make that mistake again. This is when we start to panic and we start to say things we wish that we hadn't said. We start to, we basically freak out, okay? Kids don't like that, especially teenagers. Oh my gosh, they really, really hate that. Kids don't want to hear us going on and on and on about all of the hell of all of this. They don't want to. Now, it's different. If they bring it up and they want to talk to you about what they're going through in their relationship with dad, that's different. Then you can listen, you can validate their experiences, you can do for them what you wish someone would have done for you. But as far as like your own experience with him, or like if they're complaining about him and then you start getting into the water with them and start ranting and raving, going into that, oftentimes what they'll do is they'll do a switch. Something will switch in their brain and they'll turn into defend dad mode. All right. That's how our brains operate. They always want to defend the underdog. And if you go on the attack, then all of a sudden dad's going to be the underdog and they're going to want to attack him. This is why the world likes to defend abusive men, because they put themselves into the underdog place, because now you're rising up and saying no. And all of a sudden, he's the poor victim. Oh, she's saying no to him, poor little wormy person. Sorry, I just couldn't resist. Anyway, you don't want to do that in front of your kids because they don't like that, and then they're going to defend him, and then they're really going to be confused. That creates all kinds of cognitive dissonance in them because now they're like, well, yeah, he really does, hurt me in these ways, but now I'm defending him, but I kind of feel sorry for him, but I also feel sorry for mom, and I also just gets really, it muddies the waters. So try not to do that. Number 5, they grow up faster than you think. And when it's all said and done, you will have an awesome relationship, and that's what matters. I've watched this happen before my eyes, and I'm not even that far out. I'm only almost 3 years out of my divorce and separated for 2 years prior to that. We went through the divorce process and then separated before that. So 4 years of separation and then 3 years post-divorce. So that's actually quite a bit of time. And so during those several years of time, my kids have grown up. A lot of them have grown up, and they're fully baked, and they're ready to fly on their own. And I have great relationships with them. All right, 6, if you see the writing on the wall that he gets 50-50, this is my advice to her. Say that you'll agree if it's written into the divorce agreement that you get to choose their therapists, and that he covers the cost of therapy for as long as they need or want it post-divorce. Say it is to help them with the divorce trauma. All right? Really, though, what you're doing is you're setting it up so that they have a good therapist who can help them process all of the emotional stuff that they're going to be going through that may or may not be related to just the divorce. It may also be related to the trauma of dealing with a manipulative dad and all of that. But here's the thing. If you throw that bone in front of a mediator or even in front of a judge and you say, hey, it's totally fine. I get it. Like kids need their parents 50-50. I'm all for it. I'm also all for therapy. Most people will agree. Yeah, kids having gone through divorce need therapy. And if your ex doesn't agree with that and says, no, they don't need therapy, that's going to look bad on him. And then they're going to look at him and be like, what's your problem? Why wouldn't you say you just got done making a case for how much you love your kids. Why wouldn't you want them to have therapy? She has no money. She doesn't have a job yet. You're not willing to pay for therapy for these kids that you love so much. Do you see the leverage that you have there? So you need to make sure that you're using that leverage to have written into the divorce agreement safety features that are going to provide a buffer between, I keep getting notifications on my phone, a buffer between you or between your kids and the abuse. All right. And if your kids can actually experience emotional abuse while talking to a therapist about it, not you, I mean, they can tell you about it, but I'm talking about like processing and getting help to recognize it and deal with it, respond to it with a therapist. So another person outside of the family that's not you, that is so life-changing for your kids. So helpful. Here's also the thing that I wrote here. I just said they will experience emotional abuse in other places in their lives. Okay? That's just facts. Growing up with an asshole dad while also getting therapy inoculates them so that they can learn how to recognize it and hopefully avoid relationships in their adult life that also have that component. Who knows? Maybe growing up with a dad like that while alongside of getting therapy is going to be the thing that actually helps them get out of an abusive dating relationship so they don't end up marrying someone and going through the same thing that you're going through. We don't know. All I know is that therapy is great if you can get a good therapist, and being exposed as a child to abuse is not a good thing. But since it's already happened, let's make the most of it and let's make it a training place for your children. I've watched my own older children go through this and learn so much. And they actually have a good relationship with their dad. They really do. Is it a close look? Do they go in and disclose deep, dark secrets? No, they don't. I don't know that they disclose super deep, dark secrets with me, but I have very open relationships with my kids, and we talk about just about everything. All right, and I love that. That's the kind of relationship I want to have with all of my kids when they're all grown up. And what the relationship that they have with their dad, that's between them and their dad. Has nothing to do with me. That's ultimately the goal. Now, I still have a lot of younger kids, so I'm still in this water with you with my younger kids. You know, I'm still dealing with a lot of fears and stuff, but I have seen, at least I can offer you that I have seen the results of my kind of plan of action in dealing with all of this, okay? All right. I think that was all that I had to share with her. The rest of it's kind of private, but basically the bottom line is take back your power where you can. You need to let go of what you can't control, and you need to take back your power over what you can control. And that's also just a mantra that I repeat over and over and over again. You guys, what I just shared with you and what I just offered you is what I offer every single day, not here on Facebook. I don't respond to a whole lot here on Facebook. I don't have time for that. And all of my work goes into working with the hundreds of women that are in my private program, the Flying Free Sisterhood Education and Support Program. It opens up every 6 months, and it's opening up October 1st through the 6th. And so I'm going to come on here probably a little bit more over the course of the next 2 weeks to give you a flavor and a taste of how I help women reframe things and reprogram their brains so that they can actually deal with real life practical situations. I kind of like to think of my program as being a coaching program. It's because I don't want to throw information at people. I can do that on the Flying Free podcast. I can do that on my website. But what I'm trying to do in my program is, yes, we need information. You can get information for free. You don't have to pay for that. What you really need is you need coaching through your individual situations. And I do that in a private forum. And I also do that through weekly coaching calls with my people. And I'd love, if you're not part of this already, I'd love to have you jump on board because I'd love to help you too. I've watched hundreds of people's lives change. I get feedback every day from women in my program. It's life-changing and it works. And I'd love to see you on the inside. You can learn more. Go to joinflyingfree.com. I don't have a lot. I'm going to be putting up more facts on that page probably in the next few days. But for right now, what you can do is go get on the waiting list. And if you get on the waiting list there, I will send you an email when it opens up. And I'll send you more than one email because what I'm going to do is share some inside peeks into the program. You can actually get into a free workshop that I'm going to do on October 1st and October 4th. And I will give you a few pieces of the program for free just so that you can try it out and see what you think. But you have to be on that waiting list. I'm not just giving that out free to everybody, okay? All right, that's all I have for you today. Until next time, fly free.